With this video, we would like to show you all the features and how to use the functions of the Bühlmann Decompression 01. Small note before starting, please make sure to read the instruction, the manual, before any dive with this watch. The manual can be downloaded from the Watch Angels website. So let's start, first of all, by showing everything which is on this watch, all its features. First of all, the turning decompression stops bezel. With this bezel, you can calculate your decompression stops times. There is 3 bezels which are interchangeable. The watch comes with one bezel mounted, that's the 40-meter dive bezel, and then you have a 30 and 20-meter dive bezel. These bezels can be easily interchanged by using the screwdriver provided. Second, going into the watch, you have an internal bidirectional turning bezel with 60 minutes. And this bezel you can use to calculate your actual dive time. At 3 o'clock, we have a 60 seconds hand, and this can be used to control your ascent time. At 9 o'clock, you have the hours of the watch and the fly, no fly indicator, which you see in this small aperture. Then the crowns of the watch. On the right, the crown which operates the internal turning bezel, the minutes bezel. In the middle, the crown through which you operate the timing functions and you set the time of the watch. And on the left, the helium valve. Other feature of the watch is the 5-degree inclined case. This allows better readability of the time because the watch is slightly tilted towards you. Another feature is this flexible joint. Because the watch has a certain dimension, this flexible joint allows a very high comfort of wearing also for smaller wrists. And then on the case back, you see this ergonomic shape, which is what's against your wrist, so which makes for a very comfortable wear. And in the middle here, we have engraved the original formula, the algorithm of Professor Bühlmann, and it's with this algorithm that the data on the bezel has been calculated. Last but not least, the bezel not only gives you decompression stops, but has also a system which blocks the 3 crowns. That's very important because these 3 crowns should never be operated underwater, and this bezel security system makes sure that these cannot be operated by mistake. Now we will go into each function and show you how to operate it. So first of all, how to use the decompression stops bezel. On the decompression stops bezel, you see indicated, for example, this is on the 40-meter, first decompression stop, 9 meter, 5 minutes. Second decompression stop, 6 meter, 15 minutes. And the third, 3 meters and 35 minutes. So each decompression stop is marked. So how do you use it? So when you dive, you set your first decompression stop, and this you do by aligning the decompression stop 1 marker with the minute hand. So you turn the bezel, you place the marker in front of the minute hand, and when the minute hand reaches the luminous dot, the 5 minutes will have elapsed and you can ascend to your next decompression stop. So that's decompression stop 2 at 6 meters. Okay, where you have to stay 15 minutes. Again, the minute hand, when it reaches the luminous dot, you know that the 15 minutes have elapsed, and then you can continue to your third stop. Which is here, which is 35 minutes. Again, when the minute hand reaches the luminous dot, also this decompression stop is done and you can ascend. So this is for the use of the decompression stops bezel. Be careful, always choose the right bezel for your dive. It's written in the instruction how to select these bezels. So all the other functions need to be operated by releasing the crowns. So first step is to open the lock-unlock system with the crown with the bezel. How do you do that? You align the luminous dot with the 1 o'clock index or 5 minutes. You press down, turn clockwise until you cannot turn anymore, and right now the crowns can be operated because they are released. So let's see how these work. So first of all, how to use the actual dive time in a ring. So to measure your dive time, you use the right crown, the one with the color. You unscrew it until it releases. It will release itself. You can feel when it comes out. And you can turn the minutes bezel bidirectionally. So to measure your dive time before diving, you set the white triangle on the turning bezel in correspondence with the minute hand, and then of course you will be able to calculate your dive time by following the minutes hand and reading on the bezel scale the number of minutes. So to close the crown again, you turn it in. Then the middle crown you can use to set the time functions. So you unscrew the crown until it releases. By turning anti-clockwise, you can manually wind the watch. It's an automatic, so it charges with the movement of your wrist, but you can also wind it manually. So position 1, you pull, position 2, and position 2 will allow you to operate the fly, no fly indicator. As you know, you're not allowed to fly after a dive before at least 24 to 48 hours have elapsed. So how do you control this? After your dive, you set the fly no fly indicator on red by turning the crown anti-clockwise. So at this point, the watch will start to measure the time. From red, it will go to orange and then to green, where green means you can fly. So red and orange is no fly, green you can fly. It's very important. Again, read the instruction manual to know in detail how this works. The last function is your ascent rate. So you know that you cannot ascend more than 10 meters per minute. And by checking the second hand at 3 o'clock, you can measure this minute and your ascent rate. The last crown, the crown on the left, is the helium valve. So the helium valve can also be opened by turning the crown. Now the helium valve allows to equalize the pressure inside the watch and inside the decompression chamber. So it's something you use only in a decompression chamber, never underwater. So please also read the instruction manual to really go in detail about how you operate the helium valve. So this showed how the crowns work. Now, after having set your time or the other functions, you have to lock the crowns again. So first of all, before locking, you have to screw in the crowns. The locking mechanism does not work if you do not screw in the crowns. Actually, it might even break the system. So be careful, never operate the bezel locking system if the crowns are not screwed in. So now they're screwed in. I repeat the inverse process. So you turn the bezel until it is in alignment with the 1 o'clock index. And as you can see, the bezel lifts up. At that moment, the crowns are locked again, and you can position the bezel again in your desired position. For example, at 12 o'clock for aesthetic reasons. So this concludes the functionalities of the watch. Maybe a last thing on the strap. So you see the strap has many holes. That means you can really micro adjust the length of the strap, and this is very handy again to be able to fit the watch to any wrist size. So this concludes the explanation of the watch. Thank you very much.